Hello and welcome back. Welcome to our last panel of the day. Oh, we had given interpreters one more minute for their break, but thank you for being here, Margaret. We appreciate it. We really try to give you your fair breaks. I know you have worked hard today. It's been a long day. I will speak briefly and then get out of the way. This is our last panel on this stream. There will be one more panel after this on stream B for anybody who wants to stick it out right to the end. Um, and I will do some thank yous really briefly after this panel. Our final panel for today looks at employment, entrepreneurship, and finding benefits. We have moderator Brittany Finlay from the University of Calgary here with us, and she is in conversation with Edna Appiah-Kubi from Prosper Canada, Cindy Christensen from the America Collective, and a powerful advocate, Sarina Mawji. And I hand it over to you, Brittany.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Amanda, for introducing everyone and kicking off a panel that I'm certainly very excited about that I think is going to provide a lot of really excellent information for everyone here. So, as Amanda said, my name is Brittany Finlay. I am a senior research associate at the Disability Policy Research Program, which is housed at the University of Calgary. I'm basically here to just be the tour guide today. The people we have on the panel are the experts, and they're going to be giving us some amazing and really helpful information today. So, with that, I will pass it off to our first panelist. First, we will hear from Edna, a senior officer at Prosper Canada. She will be speaking to us today about Prosper Canada's free online tools that increase access to benefits for Canadians, including people living with a disability. So, Edna, off to you.
Thank you, Brittany. Good evening, everyone. I'm based in Toronto, so it is now 5:33, or good evening, good afternoon, everyone. I'm just going to start by sharing a link in the chat to our pre-recorded presentation, which is available on the Disability Without Poverty YouTube channel. This will provide more context and additional detail on our primary benefit tool, the Benefits Wayfinder. And I encourage everyone to watch and review that video for better reference. So I'll just go ahead and share that in the chat, along with other hyperlinks to our primary tools. And then I'll go ahead and share my screen so I can do a quick demonstration, live demonstration of our Disability Benefits Compass, just to contextualize the user experience. And if anyone could just give me a thumbs up if they do see my screen, that would be, or just say yes. Okay, I think I'm seeing a thumbs up. Perfect. So upon initial visit to our Disability Benefits Compass, a visitor will be prompted to select their province. So in this case, I'm going to select Ontario. And then upon selection, you have the choice of viewing the site in light mode or dark mode. I'm just going to choose dark mode for better visual presentation. And you have the option of viewing the 5 key disability benefits in each province or territory. So in the case of Ontario, that would be the ODSP, Ontario Disability Support Program, which is the key disability benefit in the province of Ontario, along with the 4 key federal disability benefits, including the new Canada Disability Benefit. We also have a glossary page which outlines some key terms, methodologies that are commonly referenced in disability benefit applications. We have our resources page, which highlights designated resources that were designed and produced by some of our key partners across the country, including the Plan Institute and Disability Alliance Canada. And then we have our help page, which highlights key organizations and entities, agencies that provide free disability benefit application assistance. So depending on the disability benefit that's selected, one can then visit the organizational website for more assistance. So for today's presentation, I'm just going to quickly review how our disability benefit information is displayed on our disability benefits compass. So a visitor can just quickly select a disability benefit. I'll choose the disability tax credit. And then they're met with a brief comprehensive summary of the disability tax credit benefit. They have the option of selecting the introduction, which provides more detail on the benefit itself, along with some questions pertaining to this benefit. They can go over to the eligibility page, which highlights the eligibility criteria for the disability tax credit, including Q&A and additional tips as well. They can go over to the apply page, which has comprehensive application steps that one could follow. So once you click step 1, depending on your response, it would lead you to the next step. And if you were to click no, or I'm not sure, it would provide you with additional details and information as to how to achieve the previous step. We also have our post-application instructions, including what to do if an application is approved and what to do if an application is denied. And then we have our frequently asked questions, and these frequently asked questions were designed and noted in consultation with disability experts from the Plan Institute and Disability Alliance BC to really capture the lived experience of people who have submitted disability benefit applications. In addition to our frequently asked questions, we have our resources pertaining to this particular benefit. So in this case, we have resources from Disability Alliance BC and along with the Plan Institute, including 5 myths about the disability tax credit and a healthcare practitioner guide. So this is just a brief comprehensive view as to what's available on the individual benefit page of our disability benefits compass. Returning back to the home page, if you scroll down to the bottom of the browser, we also have resource cards that provide additional information and direction as to what to do if your application is denied, how to find a doctor or nurse practitioner, a sample letter for your doctor, so forth and so on. In addition to that, we have a video with captioned ASL along with website instructions to help people navigate our tool. This is a free resource. There are no charges or subscriptions required to utilize the Disability Benefit Compass. And if at any point in time you'd like to visit our Benefits Wayfinder, you are directly linked up top here. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. And as mentioned and shared in the chat, we have our pre-recorded video that highlights the Benefits Wayfinder, along with additional detail about Prosper Canada and our free online benefit tools. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, we do encourage you to send us an email to the Benefits Wayfinder at prospercanada.org. We're always encouraging people to reach out to us and share information, especially in regards to our resources and help section. Any agency or organization noted on the help section provides free application assistance. And so we're looking for other entities or agencies across the provinces and territories who can assist people with disability with their applications. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Edna, for kicking us off with that really interesting demonstration. That was fantastic. Next, we will hear from Sarina, a social services and change management leader with expertise in government relations, community development, organizational leadership, and policy design. She will be speaking to us today about the untapped potential, maximizing disability employment in Canada. Off to you, Sarina.
Thank you, Brittany. I really appreciate it. It's great to be here with everyone today. And Yes, I am a social services and change management leader, and my work really focuses on advancing equitable and evidence-informed systems for children, youth, and families and individuals navigating complex social and health challenges. As both Edna and Brittany have shared, along with Amanda earlier today, our presentations are online on the Disability Without Poverty's YouTube page. And I just wanted to chat a little bit about the untapped potential in maximizing the disability employment in Canada, where we poverty due to disability is not a coincidence, right? It's a consequence of choices and systems and inactions. And when, as we are where we are now, we're long past the point of really pretending that small tweaks here and there are going to fix it. Real change demands that employees, employers, and the government, the three stakeholders, I believe, in this, must act together and with urgency. We're here today, of course, because Canadians with disabilities hold an incredible untapped potential. And when barriers fall, people can thrive. Workplaces, communities, and our entire community and economy can thrive as well. So with our first stakeholder, the disabled employee, right? It's the power, it's not the permission that we need. People with disabilities we're too often, defined by assumptions, and yet we bring resilience and innovation and lived expertise in the workplaces, and they desperately need that. A lot of workplaces need that. Inclusion also means giving us the tools to advocate for what we need, access assistive technologies, and work in a flexible way. And it means valuing strengths, not deficits, right? We go to the asset-based model and we need to look at strengths. And accessibility isn't a favor, it's a right. And every denied accommodation is a denial of potential productivity and dignity. We go to our second stakeholder in this, which is the employers, and it's time to step up and not step aside. And the tokenism won't move the needle anywhere, right? Employers really need to recognize that invisible disabilities, they need to confront their biases, and really we need them to embed accessibility into the hiring and training and workplace culture because resources exist, funding and incentives and support programs exist. We need to have them know that, educate themselves, and use them accordingly as well. And inclusion isn't charity, it's a strategy. And that's what's exciting about this. It's truly a strategy. It's retention, it's innovation. And equity just means giving people what they need to succeed. And not pretending everyone's in the same place all the time, right? And with our third stakeholder at play here, I believe, is the government. And I believe the government needs to lead with urgency. Government holds the policy levers, right? And right now, progress is stalling on many accounts, and disability must be funded as a pillar of poverty reduction, and income supports must stop penalizing work. That cliff that we talk about all the time. And accessibility laws need to be enforced, not just written. And there was an article that was written by Jasmine Rizé and Leila Sangari that states that poverty is not inevitable. It's a policy choice. And it's not the policy that is sometimes a problem, it's a lack of urgency. And with decisive action, we can really cut disability employment, the gap by 25% by 2028, given a lot of different models, and get Canada back on track. Disability inclusion is justice, it's economic strength, and it's nation building. Employees are ready, employers must commit, and the government must act. Canada's workforce is incomplete without us, and the future depends on choosing inclusion now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarina. Some really salient points in there. And I think I'm seeing some hands from the audience. So it looks like lots of agreement there. So thank you so much. Now I'm going to pass it along to our third panelist, Cindy. And I think she'll take a moment to introduce herself and talk a little bit about what she's going to be focusing in on this area of employment and benefits. So Cindy, I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, so my name is Cindy. I'm based in Ottawa, so I'm a policy analyst and also researcher. So today I would like to share with you my current ongoing research. I do have lived experience with disabilities, So I'm going to share the screen. So just give me a thumb up if you can see it. Okay, perfect. So I want to really explore how creative art could be a pathway for poverty reduction for people with disabilities, and it's for people with apparent and non-apparent disability. Myself, I do have non-apparent disabilities, so through my lived experience, I've seen a lot of issues with gaining, long-term employment, getting access to funding, things like that. Um, with poverty, it really impacts people with disabilities. It also creates a lot of social exclusion, create a lot of significant barriers to traditional employment. There are things that people with disabilities face that we oftentimes, I would say, regular folks don't really know what they are, or they don't really have the same empathy. So it's really important to speak out about these challenges and see how there are different ways where we can create pathways and economic empowerment for these people, whether it's someone who's between jobs, or they can look at arts as a long-term way for them to create income. So there are so many things that you can do with arts, and fortunately, we live in Canada, and there's tons of funding for visual arts, performing arts, digital music, literature. In Canada, whenever people want to write a book, we can actually create a free ISBN number. In the US, it's not the same case. People have to go through traditional publisher. It's very difficult and sometimes very expensive as well. So there's a lot of support from the government there, but it doesn't mean that it's perfect. Art provide a lot of freedom for disabled artists. They can express themselves. They can communicate in their own unique perspective and the different way that they can create art. So my hypothesis is that I would like to explore the relationship between the adoption of digital technologies in art and poverty reduction for disabled artists, and through the removal of inaccessible traditional barriers. So as we know, there's a lot of artists that would like to showcase their art in certain venues, but not all of these venues are accessible, especially physical location. And now we see it's winter time. Perhaps someone is using a wheelchair. How are they going to, go to a venue? It's very, very difficult, and we need to find a way that is accessible for all the artists as well as those people who wants to visit these venues. So through the sources that I'm hoping to look at, and I've looked at Open Canada, Canada Council for the Arts, Statistics Canada. Most of the research are open source. I would like it to be very, very open and transparent. I'm also hoping for a few participants who are willing to be interviewed virtually, or if they live in the Ottawa region, I could interview them in person, whether they are currently an artist or they have lived experience with wanting to become an artist, but have faced certain barriers. So would love to get their thoughts on that. So some statistics that I would like to speak on. So this has been updated in 2024. So a survey of 200 plus disabled artists found that 70% face funding barriers. But digital tools like virtual exhibitions, online sales through Etsy increase the income by 25 to 40%. So there are still a lot of needs for policy and accessible tech grants. How are we going to, overcome those barriers? Statistics Canada said that 27% of Canadians have disabilities, with 40% in poverty versus 12% non-disabled artists. So arts is a self-employment is 3 times higher amongst disabled creatives using adaptive technology. So today, as we see, we are here virtually. We have ASL, French interpretation as well. It's a way for us to gather here in like an accessible manner. So how can we bring this form to the world of art? Um, and then another statistics more focused on poverty reduction. So this one, disabled Canadians are 2.5 times more likely to be in deep poverty. Myself, I've spent a lot of money on several medical appointments. You have to work, but then all of that goes through all the appointments, trying to apply for the Canadian disability benefit. Maybe not a lot of artists might get approved. So there's a lot of barriers there. Now, there's a lot of funding that's needed. So, three things that I think we should focus on, and I'm going to also explore that through my research. So, the first thing is what Sarina said, which is more inclusive policy. So, the integration of technology standards into arts grants, perhaps through the Canada Council for the Arts or even smaller organizations, more accessible technology, maybe more open source, mentorship, boot camps, and more opportunities. And then lastly, skill building. So free workshops, more engagement, more collaborative initiatives. So together, hopefully we can build a better world. And that's my ongoing research that I'm hoping to be published in spring of 2026, and it's going to be a lot of open source data, a few interviews, and I'm hoping for it to be like very succinct and to the point. So very excited to publish that, and I will drop my email in the chat here as well. But if anyone would like to contact me to participate or provide any feedback, I would love to hear from you as well. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Cindy. That was such an interesting presentation. We have quite a bit of time left, and we were planning to maybe start and gauge if there's any questions from anyone in the audience. Amanda, I don't know if you're still here, if the process is for folks to come off mute or if you're collecting any questions in the background. There's certainly other questions I can ask the panelists, but we wanted to start off and see if anyone from the audience had any thoughts, comments, or questions for any of the panelists today. Okay, if there's nothing coming in so far, I'll start with a question for Sarina. So your presentation really framed disability employment as an opportunity rather than a challenge. So how can organizations shift mindsets at all levels to see inclusion as a strategic advantage?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Brittany. Appreciate it. It's a great question, right? I mean, there's various things that can be done, and we need to have organizations really leverage our assistive technologies that we have right now, and we have so many options, right? AI is such a generative term, but we have so many options in terms of assistive technologies that various employees can use. And again, having an employee in a wheelchair is so different than having an employee with an invisible illness or just having an employee, with various other things going on. So, it first comes the understanding, and then comes the assistive technologies and using what's available to us, including flexible work arrangements and having inclusive communication, and therefore we can perform at our full, potential. And research shows that Canadians with disabilities often exceed expectations in creativity and adaptability, perseverance, and efficiency, and especially in productivity, right? We need to also, I think, rethink job descriptions to match abilities. And we need to move beyond just a minimal accommodation to make accommodation seamless, right? Earlier today, there was a session on universal design. And we need to look to that, right? We need to look beyond compliance. And I think we also need to work away from the fear-based thinking and how to drive forward some change and take advantage of inclusion to differentiate some things. And um, in the Industrial Revolution, as a friend just reminded me yesterday, we learned through that revolution that we now understood then, and hopefully still understand now, that employees are more productive when they're happy and when organizations are people centered, right? And everyone has value and everyone should be part of the economy and be able to contribute and not be isolated. Um, and remote work is feasible and infrastructure and technology exists. It was a simple solution for the masses a few years ago, given the global pandemic that we were all in. And so why is it somehow tough now to include everyone in society? And without access to work and income, which often include medical benefits, it also leads to rising medical costs, right, for all and the risk of poverty.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sarina, for that thoughtful answer. So we've had two questions come into the chat, and then I see that there's a hand raised. So I'll do the chat questions first, just to maintain the order, and then we'll move over to the individual that has their hand up in the room, the virtual room, I suppose. So this question that came in the chat is for Cindy. Can you talk a little bit more about the Amara Connective and how arts communities can help support each other? So this individual noted that it's often so competitive to get grants or find spaces to present.
Yeah, it's very, very competitive. And through my research, I keep seeing the same organization that gets grant. And the way it works is because the government would vet these organizations. So they would look at them, and then if they have received a grant in the past, it is more likely that they're going to receive a grant in the future. So it's very, very competitive for newer organization like myself who wants to basically have a grant for research. But it's through a lot of collaboration, a lot of networking. So in Ottawa right now, I'm working with another smaller organization who doesn't have a focus in arts, but they have a focus in sports. So it's for sports and disabilities. And it's through that connection that we can somehow work together and create a way that perhaps like there are certain way where you can write these grants that it's more likely you're going to be picked. Or there's also something called micro grants, which are very, very small. And for smaller organizations like Amari Collective, we don't have an office, we don't have a lot of people that we need to pay. So basically, it's very, very small. So these micro grants, I would say if you are thinking of applying for grants, look for micro grants and then collaborate and work with smaller organizations that might be the same size within your community and start from there.
Fantastic. Really great points and advice there, Cindy. Much appreciated. I'll go to the second chat question and then Denise, if I've pronounced that correctly, we're coming your way. So the second chat question is for Edna. Do you have any statistics about how many people access your benefit finders and how we can help spread the word to people who may not know about it yet?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So I do have statistics, and if you can just give me a moment, I don't want to misspeak. I want to give you accurate numbers. But we did conduct a longitudinal study, and there was over 300,000 people that successfully had utilized our benefit tools. And since that time in 2023, I believe the longitudinal study took place. Since then, that number has doubled. But I do want to give you accurate numbers, and I will indicate that in the chat. And one way in which we ensure that people can become aware of our benefits tools is through our benefit navigation champions who are across the country. So we collaborate and connect with frontline serving organizations who utilize our benefits wayfinder and our disability benefits compass to provide benefit awareness for their community. And by utilizing our tools, they promote the use of our tools and kind of ensure that awareness has increased about the benefits wayfinder and the disability benefits compass.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Edna. Super helpful information there. And yeah, thanks for looking up those numbers and popping them in the chat. I'm sure everyone will appreciate that. Denise, over to you.
Hi, my question is for Sarina. I'd like to have some advice on what to do when you've been stigmatized by your employer. I am a person who's highly skilled in textiles and was stigmatized for my disabilities. And I don't really want to go back to working where I used to work. It was a summertime job, but just to be on to go in with some not ammo, what's the word for it? Some knowledge, like to be able to advocate for myself when something like that happens in the future.
Hi, Denise. Thanks for your question. I'm sorry that that's your experience. I'm sure in this community and this chat today, you're not alone. I myself have had a really recent experience like this too, and it's really hard. Yeah, it's trauma at the end of the day, right? When we're not seen and not heard and not valued. And I really like to focus on what is my part in all of this and what is our part in all of this and what can we do to continue to self-advocate? Should we have to when this is our right? Probably not, right? But where can we self-advocate? Where can we share education and share information, which then can empower us more? So I think, given your experience and given moving forward and not wanting to go back and looking to hopefully another opportunity that comes up, I always like to give the advice is this is what I do myself, is when you're in an interview or when you're looking at organizations, let's just say the initial search, is look through the company's position on where they stand, right? Their mission statement, their goals, their strategic plan as well, and not just looking at just their website and about us, but really digging into their strategic plan, because a lot of organizations will put that through. And on their strategic plan, you can then see what they actually prioritize and what they're willing to do, and get to know a little bit more about the company as well and the culture and who works there and who doesn't work there. And if you can't do all of that, that's okay. You're granted an interview, you apply, you're granted an interview. There is a question portion afterwards, after they ask you, it's an interview for us and for you to interview, the potential employee and employer as well as they're interviewing the employee. And so, again, I would at that point just, just be real and just be like, hey, what is the company's position on disability, and what are the company's policies in respect to disability? How has the person before me worked in this position? What did you like? What are you looking for me to bring to this position, and where is room for growth? And in questions like this, you'll really learn if they're the right fit for you and you're the right fit for them. So as you're on the search, to a new opportunity, which is right around the corner. And in a way, it's stressful and it's worrisome, but it's also exciting because now you get to go where you want to go, hopefully. And they also see and meet you where you are. And hopefully there are organizations, more and more organizations out there, and given our platform today, that are open-minded, and you'll know whether, they're really going to walk the walk or walk their talk per se, and if they're person-centric. So I hope that helped and answer your question.
Yeah, I'm seeing a thumbs up and a heart. So I think that was a great answer. Thank you so much, Sarina. And thank you, Denise, for sharing with this group and trusting us with your story. We appreciate that so much. I'll keep, there's no other questions coming in. I have a couple more I can ask, but please feel free. We have a few more minutes. So if there's any other questions, you can raise your hand or put them in the chat. I believe there's directions in the chat as well. Oh, and I see a hand. Perfect. Vanessa, over to you.
Sorry, I'm trying to find Vanessa. You took your, oh, here you are.
Hi, sorry about that. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so my question, sorry, I'm blanking on the name. Cindy, I really enjoyed your presentation. I'm interested in writing as a form of capturing lived experiences of poverty and disability. And currently I'm facing kind of a bit of a crossroads about, whether I need to go get my master's to be have my writing or research considered like verifiable or, trustworthy or something. But in doing that, I also worry that I run the risk of becoming out of touch with like work on the ground, one-to-one connection with like other disability advocates. And I just wondered what your take on that was, like which of a path is more worthwhile to go down?
Yeah. So I'm a first generation university grad and an immigrant. So I have had a lot of university degrees. And my honest opinion is that if you really love something, whether it's writing, right now it's a wonderful time to learn because having that degree, that certificate is really great. But again, you're gonna lose that time where you can work. Or perhaps I would recommend looking into like writing fellowship and mentorship. Those ones sometimes are paid and you actually gain more exposure, like CBC or the Writers Trust or the Writers Union. They have a lot of writing fellowship where you can actually receive a stipend. And usually they run for 6 months or 12 months or even a year, and you're gonna make like tons of connection. Now, if you are able to, find a master program that's really short, like the University of Ottawa has a master for 8 months. It's like an express master program for 8 months. And I think King as well in Halifax. So I would recommend the shorter one because I like to just produce the work. I have two masters myself, and I find that when you're doing these master degrees, you are stuck in a loop that you're kind of like for myself, like I would make excuses like, oh, I'm doing this degree, I won't have time to write. But as a writer, you really need to sit down to write and create that time for yourself. And I don't think having a degree is going to make you want to write more or not. I think it's in there. Now, if someone was going to say, I'm not going to hire you or give you a contract because you don't have a master, I say, you don't want to be working with them anyways. so, so yeah, it's you just have to maybe sit down, have a list of like pros and cons. Perhaps like you're gonna receive a scholarship, that's wonderful. Pros, and then cons, you might be taking time off from work. It's gonna cost you, 8 months where you can actually work full time. Make that list and sit down and see, should I do this or that, and then figure it out. But I would say, as someone with two master degrees and one from Harvard, I would say that, it's really up to you, but a degree is not going to, change who you are. You have the skills and you have the power to write your stories, and you should be able to write it from your perspective. Mhm.
Excellent. Thanks, Cindy, for that really thoughtful reflection. And Vanessa, thank you so much for your question. I see a hand up, Donna. Donna, go ahead. Once they unmute you, you can ask your question to the panel.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to say that I really identified with what Sarina was talking about, not as a new employee, but as somebody employed in an organization already, and going from different stages of disability and navigating those waters. With administration, every time there was a new administration, I found myself having to advocate over and over and over. Very exhausting, but one of the major points that Sarina had mentioned was looking at the policy of the organization. And I was able to bring that to every meeting and saying, this is what your organization is saying about inclusion and disability. Um, and accommodations. And that really gave some weight to the conversation, and allowed us to come to a commonality of, okay, we need to work together here so that these things that we've laid out are actually followed. So I just wanted to give a little real experience to something that was said on the panel. And I just wanted to thank everybody who's shared so far. I raced home from work just to catch this symposium, and it has been awesome. I really appreciate everybody who's shared. Thank you.
Donna, thank you so much for sharing and providing that lived perspective that I think really complements a lot of the things Sarina was talking about. So thank you so much for sharing. Really, really appreciate that. I think we probably have time for another one, maybe two questions. We haven't heard from Edna, so I actually just wanted to ask some more questions about the benefits wayfinder and the disability benefits compass. So I'm just curious, like, how often is your team updating that information? Is it, staying up to date with the different changes? I know that these types of things can change all the time. And what would you say the advantage is to using your tools over, maybe just looking for information on government websites?
Thank you, Brittany. Yeah, that's an important question. So to answer the first question, our tools are updated quite frequently. We want to ensure that we're providing credible and benefit information to the general public. And so we cross-check our benefit content with government websites, public press release and news feeds weekly and monthly. So for example, British Columbia's disability assistance benefit just implemented a new change effective as of December 1st. And so two couples who have a disability designation will receive now the full amount of their disability assistance. And that took effect on December 1st. And that's already reflected on our benefits wayfinder and our disability benefits compass. So we try to ensure that our updates align with governmental updates, and we cross-check quite frequently. To your second question, the advantage of using our benefits wayfinder and disability benefits compass over government websites is we've designed this tool to be a one-stop resource. We're taking away that onerous searching process and ensuring that, benefit application experience is more accessible. And that's why we collaborated and connected with the Plan Institute and Disability Alliance Canada to really ensure that we capture the lived experience of people who apply for disability benefits, and also ensure that our content is streamlined, comprehensive, and accessible. So we remove that jargon that's usually found on government websites. We remove that onerous searching process, and we ensure that the information is streamlined, easy to understand, and accessible. And that's the advantage of using our site over a government website. We're taking away that searching process and really ensuring that you have it all in one place, easy to use.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much, Edna. With that, I think we're gonna wrap up this panel. Thank you to our panelists, Sarina, Edna, and Cindy. Just such a vastly different perspectives, but really, really interesting perspectives on sort of this area of focus with employment and benefits and poverty and different ways to look at that and different perspectives on that topic. And thank you to all the interpreters we have on the call. Thank you to all the tech support, to the Disability Without Poverty staff for having us today. I know these types of events are a huge undertaking, and I think they've done a fantastic job. So, with that, I'll hand it over to Amanda to provide some concluding thoughts. And thank you all so much for attending and for your really thoughtful questions. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Brittany, for that moderation and for that ending, which I'm going to reiterate some of to show just again appreciation. Thank you. I know there's some people who are here now who have been here since 7 a.m. Pacific time. So thank you for hanging in there all day. As I said earlier, there is one last panel over on stream B after this one. If you'd like, it is specifically about the Canada Disability Benefit. So that should be a final rousing panel. And I also, again, just wanted to thank specifically Plan Institute, Liz, the tech champion is how I name Liz. Solana, Kyer, Rachel, of course, Steph, DWP people who participated and stepped in as moderators. Janet and Liz was a panelist. Michelle, Amy and Omar, who are running our chats for us. Jessica, who's been background support. Sabrina, of course, Rabia, Minu. Shout out to Shane, who is like another tech whiz champion, and all of our panelists, all of our interpreters, all of our accessibility teams. Jess and Margaret, thank you. You can find the Disability Without Poverty third annual report card on our website, disabilitywithoutpoverty.ca. And you'll be able to find this video and the stream B video up on YouTube within the next couple of weeks. And again, please go check out those wonderful 5-minute poster presentations and the full lectures from William McGregor and Ty Reagan and Stefan Sudan-Hanich and Nicole Luongo. All the names are swirling in my head. Please go check them all out. And thank you. Yay.